I'm Maurice Clapper, a former attorney and writer with a master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology. Today, I'm sharing 5 techniques for mitigating the negative aspects of perfectionism. Number 1, identify and challenge all or nothing thinking. This cognitive behavioral therapy technique helps with mitigating anxiety and also works well for managing perfectionism. First, identify the exact harsh or rigid thought that pops into your mind. For example, my boss criticized me at a meeting. My career here is over. Next, identify and name the emotion associated with that automatic thought. For example, shame, anxiety, perhaps worthlessness. Then weigh the evidence for and against it. On the one hand, you may have made a mistake, which happens to everyone. Or your boss could have been making constructive comments for you to consider. Evaluating the evidence and reframing the narrative with a more balanced and nuanced approach works by challenging cognitive distortions like black and white thinking. Reframe the narrative with a statement such as, "I'm off to a good start, and my boss provided feedback on additional angles to consider as the project moves forward." This reduces harsh self-criticism, encourages self-compassion, and helps people recognize the gray area between total success and total failure. Challenging all or nothing thinking requires commitment to identifying, naming, and reframing harsh automatic thoughts as they arise, but it's well worth the effort. Number 2, cultivate self-compassion. Perfectionism and being hard on yourself go hand in hand. When you notice self-judgment and that negative talk loop playing in your head, pause and ask, would I speak to a friend the way I'm speaking to myself? Keeping a daily log of the negative narrative and partnering each thought with a challenge to do better is also helpful. For example, today I was really hard on myself after my boss reviewed my operational report. How could I reframe this self-talk more kindly? Number 3, acceptance, mindfulness, and exposure to imperfection. Perfectionists know that mistakes can happen, but accepting that they're inevitable is extremely difficult. I recommend picking a low-stakes task where you usually aim for perfection and intentionally performing it just good enough rather than flawlessly. For example, pick something easy, like sending out 1 email a day with a spelling mistake. I'm not recommending sending it to your first choice job along with your resume. I'm suggesting picking a lower stakes situation and becoming comfortable with good enough. Observing and internalizing the outcome, that in reality nothing bad happened, mindfully reframes the brain to accept less than perfection and be comfortable with that. As uncomfortable as that sounds, it makes for a much more comfortable existence. Number 4, intentionally challenge perfectionist habits. Perfectionism is an overcompensation, which leads to unnecessary stress in overachievers, who would likely succeed without the added angst of perfectionism. Intentionally setting a limit or rule helps to reverse this type of escalation. Research supports that setting an anti-overcompensation rule, essentially a boundary, encourages intentionally moderating effort and expectations by allowing room for mistakes and imperfection. This reduces anxiety, increases self-efficacy, and breaks the cycle. For example, before preparing a quarterly report, a CEO can consciously decide that after the report is finalized, they will review it only once, submit it, and accept that perfectionism is not necessary for success. And I know this one is hard, but practice does lead to positive results. And finally, number 5, set SMART goals. Convert vague high standards to specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. This also helps with motivation because goal-setting theory supports that setting specific but challenging goals, along with regular feedback, leads not only to increased motivation, but to better performance. So instead of setting a vague, unrealistic standard, remember the acronym and set a SMART standard. Stick with it and allow yourself to internalize the motivation and satisfaction that results. I hope these tips help, and I encourage you to try one or more depending on your individual needs. Please visit me at Maurice Clapper Coaching and Consulting for more.